Yeah, what's going on, people, and welcome to the Blue Steel Podcast Show. I'm your co-host LV Live, along with my co-host Jeff. What's going on, my man?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. I'm sure you guys know, you guys have heard all the great things that happened this weekend, but of course, the big upset out there in Vegas. But before we get into it, please hit the like, share, subscribe button on the Blue Steel Podcast Show. Please continue to send in your questions to bluesteelshow at gmail.com, bluesteelshow at gmail.com. Me and Jeff, definitely appreciate it. But yeah, let's get straight to it. Jeff, Jeff, Jeff. Hey, look, I like to say that I was right, but this time I was dead wrong. And look, man, I totally take full responsibility for that. But yo, this is why we gotta watch the fights. This is why we gotta watch them, Jeff.
Yeah, man. I was wrong too. I thought, Wilder would win by knockout. Um, but man, Fury literally he just beat him. He just beat him down. Um, Wilder's, like in the second round, we was watching it. You could tell something was going on with his legs. He looked wobbly. He looked off. Um, I think he got knocked down in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought it was a rabbit punch, a punch behind the head initially, but it wasn't. It was close, but it wasn't. Um, and I thought that knocked his equilibrium off, which is understandable. You get hit, if your eardrum is ruptured or hurt or whatever, then that could definitely do that. And especially in a boxing match where the guy hitting 270 something pounds hit you. But I don't know. After that, they couldn't do nothing. They wasn't even really talking to him in the corner. I don't know what their plan was. They just like hopefully get a good shot in. I guess I don't know, but he didn't look good. He, it's a lot of hype. The fight, you know, he just got beat, man. There's nothing else to say. What do you think about it?
Um, yeah, man. Yeah, hey, man, look, I'm just glad I didn't put no money up. I'm glad I didn't.
Right, right.
Because
Real mad.
I would have been highly upset, man. In all honesty, like like I said at the beginning, this is why you watch the fights.
Yep.
This is why they have to go out and they have to fight because if we just look at it on paper and just base it off of someone's record, um, we'll automatically would assume that um, Wilder would have won the fight. But hey, man, you got just like they always say, you got to play the game. So I'm glad that. But stuff like this makes it exciting. Um, you look forward to kind of seeing it play out, and
Right.
now this opens it up for possibly a third fight. Um,
Whew.
I
Let's
think,
talk about that. I
yeah,
don't think you need to do that.
I know that, but before we get into that, I believe we have a question. If I'm correct.
Yes, Angela. I think it's. I want to say Stone. Hold on, let me. Yeah, Sims. I'm sorry, Sims. Basically talking about the. Here's the question: is Deontay Wilder making his pre-fight Halloween costume a scapegoat for getting his blank kicked by Fury? Which is funny. That's what everybody thought. Absolutely, I agree with you, Angela. He is definitely making it a scapegoat. He should have, like we said earlier, he should have just shut up about that. Don't even make an excuse, man. You got if that's the case, he put the like we all know now, he put the costume on the night before. So it was too heavy then, shouldn't have worn it. Just come out of town like Mike Tyson used to do, get ready for the actual fight instead of trying to like a cool Black Panther in 2020 or something. Whatever his goal was, Black History Month, whatever. The fight's more important than the costume. So, what you got to say about that?
Um, yeah, I gotta give this beautiful young lady a plug. That is the other half. Uh, she
Oh, okay.
she,
I'm sorry, I
you know
forgot the
it's
right
it's it's
person.
all right, man.
I apologize.
It's all right, man. It's all right. You didn't know, man. She likes to be anonymous. She likes to come in there and
Right,
sneak in.
right,
Uh,
right. Great comment though.
so
That's
yeah.
true.
I gotta make sure my comment is right. Um,
Right.
but no, I totally agree. I think it's a joke. I think it's a huge joke. I think that I think by him making this statement and kind of saying that's the reason why he lost, that's just such a just a weak way of going about losing. Just you lost. I mean, that's just what it is. The better man won. He just would have been better off Jeff not saying anything at all. Let's just say Jeff. Let's say that was the case, right? I don't know. Let's say that was. You still don't say anything just because it sounds crazy.
Right. To the masses, it's gonna sound like a
and I mean, it sounds kind of sad. It sounds really sad. It sounds like he's reaching. It sounds like he's being a sore loser.
Right.
He couldn't, and it looks like he was unable to rise to the occasion. When the pressure was on, the lights were brightest, he froze up, and he didn't look like anything what we thought the WBC champion should look like. He seemed like this was his first time in a top tier fight. I think he could not handle the pressure. I think it got too much to him, and because of that, if you guys don't know, his trainer Mark Breland, who was a well-known fighter here from New York City, amateur record, synonymous up there, pretty much being one of the greats up there as far as amateur fighters go, and having a decent career, but not as far as his amateur titles go. I just want to give you guys a quick black background on him. He threw in the towel, and it was that bad. He decided to throw in the towel because he was just he couldn't have him continue to get beat on like that, like he did. And because of that, Deontay Wilder fired Mark Breland just the other day. I believe it was yesterday. And so that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, literally, he's the same trainer. I read an article a year or two ago that said he thought Wilder's skill set was his skill set as like a teenager. Because it is. It's true. He's a puncher. And his right hand is deadly. He has percentage of knockouts ever. But if you get him where he has to box, that's his weakness, man. Fury's a very good boxer. He's a skilled boxer. He's annoying to me, but as far as in the ring, he's a very good boxer, and you get a boxer and a puncher, that puncher don't get that, like Andre Ward, like, I put up on the, our Facebook page, every puncher gets his day, and that was definitely his day, which is why I don't think he needs to take that rematch. He needs to let him fight Joshua, fight somebody, work on your skill set, maybe fire both for train. I don't know, whatever. I have no clue what they do. We don't know or what they try to do with him, but he needs to go back to the drawing board. He's not gonna win the way he fights. There's no way. Like, once you crack that code, you can't go backwards. You're gonna have to get better, and the only way you get better is by working at something. So I don't see that happening. So I don't think he needs to take the fight.
I'm 50-50 on it. Here's where I'm 50-50. First part being is I think I agree with you. I think some fighters is just a bad style matchup, right? I think that if they fought 10 times, I think Fury will beat him 9 times out of those 10. I just don't think his style matches well with Wilder. Now, with most fighters, Wilder would knock him out, but this guy, his skill set is just on a different level, and he makes Wilder look silly at times, if not all the time. The couple of fights that we've seen these last 2. But on the other half, I think he has to take the rematch, Jeff, because once he does it, and they decide to go out and fight with Joshua and Fury. Anthony Joshua, if people don't know, is a unified champion from Great Britain, which Tyson Fury is from. So if he takes the belts over there and they fight, and all the belts want to be in Britain, they're not going to give him another shot. I don't know, Jeff. I don't see them risking it because they know that. I see Fury beating Wilder again. I don't see Joshua beating Wilder. You know what I'm saying? It's just a style matchup. I just don't think styles.
I agree with that. But I think Fury will beat Joshua.
Right. So, are they? With that being said, right? Either or. is anybody going to give Wilder a shot with the potential of him knocking them out? His best bet is possibly fighting Fury again. Hopefully, him maybe linking up with someone else. Maybe like, I don't know, Bernard Hopkins or somebody like that, or Antonio Tarver. Maybe even going down to TMT, Floyd Mayweather. Maybe going down there and getting Mayweather's dad to train him. I don't know, right? And possibly pulling a rabbit out of his hat and pulling the upset and beating Tyson Fury for the third fight. That's a possibility, but he can't pretty much pry and try to get another fight, Jeff, and he has nothing on the table, which would be the belt, because they're not even going to risk it. They're not going to chance it, Jeff.
I don't agree with that. I think if I'm Wilder's people, obviously you put the third. Both teams put the third clause in their third fight. You know, to if I was them, this is what I would actually do. I
Sorry, people. All right, sorry. I apologize about that, people. We had a little technical difficulties. We're back. Jeff is back in full effect. Go ahead, Jeff. Finish your statement, buddy.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I was just saying that I would basically set it up like they did with this last fight, where they fought. This fight was set up a year ago, and they had a fight in between. I would be like, if his eardrum is ruptured, I need time off. You fight Joshua. Maybe they fight in the summer, or we fight in the fall, something like that. Give you some time off. Maybe even get a little fight in between. I mean, for money wise, I see why they would do it. But if he loses the Fury immediately, and Fury beats Joshua, which I think he will, it's it for him. I think you got a better shot at maybe getting better as a fighter, fighting, getting better, or taking some time off and just hopefully developing some type of skill set. And I just don't think it's a good idea for him to fight him either. I literally give him no shot. Well, that's not true. He has a puncher's shot, which he always will have. But when you crack that, when you're in fear like that, it's like when Tyson got knocked down. Now you're like, oh, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what everybody gonna think now. That's the blueprint to beat him.
Yeah, no one's afraid of the bully, man. Once the bully gets hit,
Right. Once you get, and I don't know. I just think that. I mean, obviously you do either way, but I think that'd be better for him to take it, but not take it immediately. Like extra, I don't know if they could do that in the clause, in whatever they have in the contract, but that's what I would do. I wouldn't fight him in like I wouldn't fight him like in May or June. I definitely wouldn't do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think also too, if he does exercise the clause, I think Fury has to fight him. I think it was already locked in. I remember hearing Bob Arum stating that the only person that can back out of it is Wilder, stating that he doesn't want to do it. But it was something in the contracts to where it stated that there was definitely a third fight no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. As long as they exercise, whoever lost, they had
Right.
29 days, something weird like that.
Right, exactly. Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. So we'll kind of see what happens from there, people. But let's move on. The Shield, Jeff, is up.
Yep.
And this week starts the Combine, Jeff. Exciting time. Say that again.
Underwear Olympics, that's what I call it.
Oh, man. I mean, people, if you guys are into the NFL like we are, this is probably the most exciting time because now this is when you see the stars come out. You see who's going to be who. This is when people saw Russell Wilson for the first time. Didn't know what he was going to turn out to be. This is where they saw Patrick Mahomes. You saw a lot of great players. You saw Jabril Peppers. You saw Saquon Barkley. You saw all those great guys who are Jamal Adams. All these great guys in the NFL. This is where you see him at. You see him in the Combine. You see who's coming up, who's the next crop. And they got some big ones coming up this year. They're going to have Joe Burrow there. They're going to have Chase Young out of Ohio State. Tua from Alabama. And a couple other players as well. But one thing, Jeff, that I'm seeing here at the Combine this year, which I think is going to be a common theme for the years going forward, is most of the top 5 picks, they're not going to perform at the combine. They're going to wait till their own pro day at their schools. What do you think about that, Jeff?
They get smart. They're gonna pick and prod every little thing. You'd rather be in your own controlled environment. You know exactly what you're doing. But your own receivers, if you're a quarterback, your own coaches, I don't blame them. I'm not losing money. You drop from a top five to like 15, 20, you will never make that money back in the NFL. So I don't blame them. I do the same thing. If it was my sons, one of my sons, I tell him, you ain't doing nothing this weekend. You can go up there and talk to him, but that's it. We chilling. That's the same thing I do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's funny that you guys heard Jeff called it the NFL's Underwear Olympics.
That's what it is.
Um, it's pretty much people who don't really know too much about the combine. It's pretty much they don't have any pads on. It's just t-shirts and spandex, and they want to test how high you could jump, what your agility is like. That's where they do the Wonderlic test. That's where you have interviews with all the NFL teams. They want to pretty much pry and poke at you and see what type of person you are, what type of family you come from, if you have any history of drug addiction or any history of getting in trouble. They speak with you about that. This is when you see
You
how
already know.
right. This is when they see how many times a guy can throw up 225. I mean, they basically just want to see you in person. The interview to me is the most important thing because they want to see how smart of a football player you are, and believe it or not, what type of issues you're going to be bringing to the league. Do you have an entourage? Do you have some friends, some hanger-ons who have criminal records? That this is when they get all that information about you. And this is where, like Jeff said, you could either rise in the draft or you can fall. And it's very, very vital that you make a lot of right choices. There's been times, Jeff, at these combines where guys have come in there and tested positive for marijuana.
It's just crazy.
And they've lost a lot of money with that. But it's an exciting time for me. I really look forward to it because this is where you kind of see who's who. You see who, some steals that you can get in the draft, Jeff. A lot of guys have made a lot of money from this combine as well, as opposed to losing it.
Yep. Guys move up, that's for sure. So here's my big question with let's say Don, you got promoted to be the GM of the Cincinnati Bengals, which would be a horrible job, but one of 32, so you got to take it. Are you taking Joe Burrow?
Hands down.
So here's my issue with Joe Burrow. I mean, great story. I'm very skeptical on the fact that a year ago this time, 99.8% of people didn't know who he was. And from you to go from the first week of they talk about this guy at all to being the number one pick, literally face of the franchise from day one, that makes me very leery. You got to take him if you're the Bengals. But inside of me, I'm like, man, I really want to take this guy. Not that he might be great. Who knows? But you usually don't rise like that. I don't remember anybody rising like that to be a number one pick before. I could be not thinking of something. I mean, Cam maybe be an example. But people knew who more Cam was as opposed to Joe Burrow, to me at least, I think. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but it just makes me kind of leery for my quarterback to be somebody who last year wasn't even on my draft board at all, or anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that that's something that everyone is pretty much asking, right? But he basically just had one of the greatest seasons that any quarterback could ever have had in college.
Absolutely.
But a big part of that was due to Joe Brady and the offensive genius that he was, and he brought that offense that he brought from the New Orleans Saints. He brought that to LSU.
Right.
So he ran an NFL offense at LSU, and he was able to pick it up and destroy defenses in college football. And that's what makes it intriguing. He's a very, very intelligent guy. And one thing about Joe Burrow is that he's a fifth-year senior. So very smart. He's coming in as a grown man in a sense, not a young kid. So he's highly analytical, very smart. That was something he had at Ohio State. But he just wasn't given a chance because there was better quarterbacks ahead of them. But as you know, when you get the right scheme, it really, really shows your skill set. And I think that he had the perfect scheme, perfect time at LSU to show his skill set. Um, if I'm correct, I'm not sure um, who the Bengals coach is, but I believe he's kind of like also an offensive guru, kind of like Joe Brady was.
Oh gosh.
That I mean that's what they say, right?
Right.
Um, we don't know yet, but I don't think we know about any of these guys. A lot of it is potential. There are a couple of guys here in this draft that are surefire picks. Like the best,
Chase Young.
yeah, exactly. The best player in the draft, hands down, is Chase Young. I mean, he's the best player. He should be going number one. But as you know, based on what Patrick Mahomes did these last couple of years, no one's going to pass up on a quarterback ever again.
Right.
Ever again. So that's why Joe Burrow will be the pick, and that's why Tua's coming out the way he is, and with his hip and everything, he's deciding because of the Patrick Mahomes effect. Um,
Right.
You got to strike while the iron's hot, and if these guys have any type of inkling of potential, you're gonna hope that you can get a Patrick Mahomes. So,
Yep.
but hands down, Chase Young, I would say, is probably the number one player to me. Second to him is outside linebacker slash safety Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson, number 11. You see him posted
Yeah.
here on number
He's
slides.
nice.
He's a stud if there ever was one. He's a perfect player
Perfect safety for what you mean now.
for today's defenses, Jeff. Jeff, he's perfect. Jeff, listen, if he can go to either the Giants or the Steelers, Jeff, he's a perfect defensive player for what the Giants and the Steelers love. He's flexible. You could jump him out of safety. You can bring him down as a linebacker. He could do it all, Jeff.
He would have to test positive for every drug in the world from the fall to us. We don't got no first round pick. Y'all got a shot, possibly, at getting him.
Right. So I was a little long-winded, but I hope that answers your question with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, no, I was, it's definitely did. That's just a thought. Every team's thinking, they should be at least thinking the same. And you gotta take him if you're the Bengals. You can't.
But here's the thing, Jeff. If you take him as the Bengals, right, you got to make sure you load up with some of his wideouts. If I was the Bengals, I would take him, and then if I have another pick in the second round, I would see if I could snatch up the wide receiver that was with him, Justin Jefferson. Like I would see if I could snatch him up in the second round.
Right. Somebody that he's familiar with.
Right, as a wideout. And then I would just, get some linemen, make sure the line is good, and I would load out on wideouts. Because,
Right.
that's what I would do. I would give him every tool, every cool car being every wide receiver, everything he needs to succeed. Because, Jeff, everything is stacked against him in Cincinnati, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Everything. They haven't won since God knows when. I mean, Marvin, what was it? Marvin Williams? I'm sorry, what was the
Marvin
coach?
Lewis.
Marvin Lewis, excuse me. He always got them to the playoffs, man. They just could never win, So, and he's out. So so that's the thing. He was there for how long, Jeff? About 10 years, 11 years.
I think he might have been there longer than that, bro. He was there for a long time.
Right. He just could not get them over the hump. And they had great teams there. But Carson Palmer was there and Ocho Cinco.
No playoff W's at all.
Right. None. They made it to the playoffs. They just couldn't win. They just couldn't win in the playoffs. So, hopefully Joe Burrow can break that curse.
Hopefully not. He's in my division. I don't even know it. No, hopefully he does, man. He's like a really good kid. Great story.
Right. Great story. But but for me, it's exciting for the NFL, man. It's exciting. I hope that he can come in and does what he did in college, because then it just kind of makes it even more of a great story. You have him, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have all these guys slinging it in the league, putting up big numbers, to where the defense has really got to kind of adjust.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll see, man. It's the actual it's funny because they place a lot into with the into this, as opposed to more like, I mean, I know tape is important, man, but they put a lot of stock in this combine, so that's how the NFL is. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look. Hey, people, listen. Like Jeff said, to me, it's not really a big deal, man. It's kind of to me, it's a big deal, but to a lot of people, it's not because it's like Jeff said, it's the underwear Olympics. But I will suggest this: if you're kind of trying to find out who your team could be getting, if you need like a safety, linebacker, running back, lineman, whatever it is your team needs, definitely look at this draft. If you don't watch college football, to check out the top players coming out so you know who your team is getting. Um, it's a perfect way for you to kind of find out who these kids are and then kind of watch their highlights and watch their games. That's what I like to do, so I know who the Giants can get, who we're going to get, and what they could possibly do for the organization. Um, so, yeah, that's my view.
yeah.
Hey, man, great show, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, people, listen, we'll be back better than ever, but please continue to check out that JB LV Live presents Blue Steel Show. It's on Facebook. Please come through and check it out. Jeff is putting up great content day in and day out. If you have any statements or if you have any questions about the show that you want to pose, instead of sending us on an email, you can also put it through on the Facebook page. Once again, Jeff is doing an amazing job with putting things up on a daily basis, keeping us in the loop. Um, that's pretty much how Blue Steel is pretty much reaching out to you guys, and we appreciate all the support that you've given us. Um, oh, yeah, I think there was something my brother sent us, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, for D Wade and Rick Ross, the song. Yeah.
Oh, man. People, if you guys get a chance, check out D Wade. He's rapping now with Rick Ross. I mean, I don't know what's going on with these guys.
I mean, they got nothing to do. He's retired, man. Why not make a rap song?
Hey,
with Rick Ross.
Jeff, he doesn't have
Why
anything
not?
to do. Jeff, his son is going to one of the top high schools in the nation, playing with Bronny James. He pretty much.
It's cool. He got
Listen.
8 hours a day to just be chilling.
Hey, listen, man.
Why not make a rap song?
Listen.
I would. Why not?
Hey, dude, I'm not making a rap song, man. I'm just not doing it. I'm just.
Hey, he's a model. He's a rapper. He's a basketball player. He do it all.
Oh man, he needs to. Okay, all right, people, listen. If you feel that D Wade should be rapping, hit us up. If not, hit us up. Please send us some feedback in regards to that. But I will tell you this: check out the video. It's because it's even a video out. It's not just a song; it's a video.
Right.
So
they put money into that, man.
Oh man, you gotta check that out. But please, people, please continue to hit us up at Blue Steel Show at gmail.com, bluesteelshow@gmail.com. We'll be back better than ever at the end of this week or the top of next week to kind of give you guys the updates on this week in sports. Hey, Jeff, man, I'm going to holler at you, brother. Great show.
Yes, sir. Good time, man.